Well, howdy folks, welcome back to the shop. I surely appreciate you stopping by, and as you can see here, we are getting ready to tear apart the quick change gearbox of that Southbend 9A of mine. And this is the last major component that needs to be worked on, cleaned up and painted, and then we put it back on and we can start making some projects. Woohoo! Oh, I'm getting excited, let me tell you that. Let's flip this puppy over. We're just going to jump right in and get started on this. First thing we want to do is remove these two screws to pull the notched plate off that locks in the tumblers in place. Well, you can see how filthy this thing is. It's early November here in the Ozarks, and we're still in a heat wave. I don't know when fall's going to get here. So that's that plate there. Oh, that is filthy. Stick that in our soaking basket. Alright, one thing I did forget to point out to you before I got started. A little nomenclature. You got 3 shafts on the quick change gearbox. This is your gear drive shaft, the middle shaft, and the tumbler shaft. Or some people say the lower shaft, but it's what the tumblers, these are your tumblers, they move and pivot along this lower shaft. And then the middle shaft and the drive shaft. And this is the shaft that has the gear tree on it, which is all these gears down in here. Your power comes in from the lathe here and goes down across the tumbler to this tumbler to this gear tree. And then this is where the lead screw comes in from to drive the lead screw. Because remember, this is all this is changing. This is only changing the speed of the lead screw, not the actual turning of the spindle. So this is so you can get that lead screw turning at different rotations so you can cut different threads. So the next thing we need to do is find the straight pin, this is a straight pin here, and knock it out. Unfortunately, I don't have a small long drift pin. There we go. There's that straight pin out. Boy, it's got a worn spot there on it. Sure enough. I don't know if you can see that or not. That is a heck of a little wear spot right there. Now this tumbler pin only goes one direction, but we need to clean out the felts, what's left of them. There's a felt right there and a felt over here, not much left of that one. This shaft goes out that way. Here's how I can tell. See this key right here that you see all the way across here? It stops right there. And these tumblers have keys on them to slide along this keyway. So if you tried to drive it out this way, the tumbler's not going to come off because of that keyway being stopped. So we need to drive the shaft out that away towards the straight pin. I need a bigger drift pin here. Or punch pin, I should say. Drift pin, punch pin, same thing. That's going out nicely. There's more of that felt that we got to get rid of. Time to go to a longer one. Rope. There we go. Wasn't expecting that to fall out so easily. One down, two to go. And then we'll take those apart last. So I don't mix them up and lose them. I'm going to keep them in the orientation where they were. Although I think they're both identical, so I don't know that it matters if we swap them back and forth. But to be safe, I'm going to keep them in the way they came out of here. Alright, now somewhere on this little guy, there it is right there. Here's a taper pin right here we need to knock out next. That is definitely the bigger end there. Ooh, that is some thick stuff. And we only want to knock it out a little bit because then we have to roll this around and pull it from the other end. Now it's got me wondering because that's not budging at all. And this side definitely looks bigger than that side. It is, no doubt about that. There it goes. Guess she was just stuck in there from so many years of sitting in there with all that grime around it. It looks in pretty good shape. Just initially looking at it while it's dirty. Okay, once again we're going to drive that shaft out that way. And I believe what keeps this shaft in place with all these gears is that very taper pin right there. Because these gears are tight on both sides of the housing. And so that shaft, that middle shaft that holds all this gear tree in, is held in place by that taper pin. And she's moving nicely. moving around on my rag here a lot, but you can see it coming out over here. Okay, and we got some of these guys free. Okay, had to kind of remind myself how that was there for a second. In order to keep all these in line with how they go and how they come out, I'm going to run a wire through them. I'm going to tie them together with a wire along with this tree, and I'm going to clean them all in, keep them all in line just like that until I put it back together. And I'll make this loop of wire big enough that I can maneuver them around and separate them to clean them all up real good. I'm keeping them in line as far as how they were. I'm not flipping them around like that. Keeping them the direction they were going. Okay, I think that ought to be about long enough. Okay, so I can just dip these, put these right in the dip tank, cleaning tank, and I can still move them around to get to both sides, but they'll always be in line with how they go on the shaft. Clean off that old felt right there, which I believe that one, there's a felt right there that we'll be replacing. But I think it goes down into a hole right there. Just a blind hole. And there's a key that engages the other part of the gear tree over here. That shaft doesn't look too bad. But one thing I did want to check was the bushings in here. This might not be a very good idea putting this back in. That goes through quite nicely, but there's a little bit of play in there. I mean, you can see it's not a super tight fit. I can wiggle it just a little bit. I'm not even going to try to take a guess on how much I'm wiggling it, but it's not very much on that one. This one, if I remember right, doesn't have bushings. In fact, I know it doesn't. I remember it doesn't have bushings. Anyway, what I'm talking about, I don't know if I'll get to where you can see it. Right in here is a brass bushing or a bronze bushing for the shaft to ride on. Doesn't look like there's one there. There's a felt right there. and that's coming down from the oil gallery, so we'll have to make sure that's cleaned good. I don't know yet if I'm going to replace these bronze bushings. I don't know that it's necessary, but doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of slop in there to me that would warrant me going to the trouble of replacing them. Alright, now for the drive shaft to get these gears out of there. I'll do the same thing here. I'll tie these up so we don't lose them. If I remember correctly, that's a tapered pin. Yes, it is. That is a tapered pin. And that definitely looks smaller to me. Right there. Yep. Yeah, it's starting to go, I do believe. And that one hammer whack fell off it a little bit. There it went. That puppy just went flying out of there. Luckily my floor is clean and I can find it. It looks like it's in pretty good shape. You can see another bronze bushing right there sticking out. So once we get these gears off, I'll put that shaft back in and check it, see how it feels. Another lubricating felt right there. I think there was one there that is missing. I don't feel any wiggle right there in that one, so that one definitely does not have to be replaced, which is a good thing. Alright, well, that was pretty easy. These are the 3 screws that come down through the way to mount this up underneath. This pin here should actually be a Gitz oiler right there. I'll try to work that out after I get this cleaned up, but that needs to come out of there. And then I'm going to have to drill this plug out and re-tap it and put a threaded plug in there. What this is, and you can kind of see it right here, there's an oil gallery in there where when you oil through this oiler, the oil runs through this gallery and down channels that come down and feed all the rods, all the bushings. There's one that comes down into here, into this bushing, and there's a hole in that bushing that I can see so the oil can flow in there. Down into here, you can see this felt channel right here, and there's an oil hole way down there coming from the gallery. Actually, I can slide that screwdriver in there quite a ways into that gallery. But pulling this plug here out allows me to clean that gallery out real good. And that's just a press-in plug, but I'll tap that and put in probably a 1/4 plug or something like that. But these are channels that after I've cleaned this all up, I have to make sure all those tubes, for lack of a better word, channels inside from the gallery, let the oil go, because there is one through this portion right here that allows oil to drop down that way, down to this shaft. Just can't get it in there to, there we go, probably get it that way. Yep, there, it's going that way. So once I get it cleaned up and degreased, and when I go to clean those, I'll get some pipe cleaners, run them through there real good, make sure that's clean, make sure the oil gallery itself is clean. And this is the bottom of the oiler coming down through this to this bushing there and the shaft. So that's it, except for pulling that out. Oh, there it was, come right out easy. So this baby's ready to go soak in some diesel so it can get cleaned and then painted. I'm not sure what I'm going to do on this tag yet. I could buy a new one. They're a little pricey. There's a couple of videos out on YouTube on how to repaint them and finish them, but this thing is kind of beat up and dented up a little bit, so I'm not sure I'm going to do that or not. This is an embossed tag. All these letters are raised. So what you do is you paint it. Well, first you want to flatten it out, but you paint it, and then you put a piece of sandpaper down on a surface plate or a perfectly flat plate, turn this upside down and sand it along it, so you're taking the paint off of the high spots, the letters, the tops of the letters, and the paint is down low so you can read it better. That's how you do those. I'm just not sure about getting it off of getting these pins out, and then I'd have to buy new drive pins, because those are just a real slow turning pin in that you just tap in with a hammer to drive them in. So I'm not sure I'm going to go that route, but I do need to do something because I cannot read that at all. Of course, I could print out a chart off of the internet or off a book or something and hang it on the wall that would show me the different locations and what speeds of the lead screw it gives me. Anyway, that's it. That's how easy they come apart. Not a lot to this one. Let's hope after it's cleaned up it goes back together as good as it come apart. Thanks for stopping by. If you like the video, click like. If you don't like it, click don't like. It doesn't matter to me. I just want you to be honest. But what I do want you to do is subscribe to my channel and watch all my other videos. There's not many, but I'm trying to put at least 2 a week up. I don't know that I'll always get 2 a week, but that's my goal, to get to that point. I got a day job,